Hello, everyone. Good evening. I wonder if you are still awake. Yeah, come join me. Okay, we are going to talk about your favorite stocks and see how they performed in today's market. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to drop a comment and say hi so I can, of course, say hi to you. And just drop a comment as well to include your favorite stock. Okay, so let's wait for a few more minutes so that we can invite some of our friends. I already invited some of our friends from our page Invest in the Stock Market, as well as our in our Investograms. Okay, so of course we need to first set up our tools. Okay, so just feel free to drop a comment while we wait for other people. Okay. Hmm. Promising moves from my watch list. Okay, let's drill down further what happened here. Hello, Paulo. Good evening. MWC, PNB, MBT, and MAG, of course. Hi, Irene Suzuki. Hi, and good PM, Miss JD, watching here in Tokyo. Um, I love Tokyo. We have a friend here from Tokyo, Japan. And sure. Okay, now that I have our first set of requests, so let's get started. This one is from Paulo. MWC, PNB, MBT, and MEG. Okay, so we managed to do a gap up today, all right, with more people buying. And currently we are sitting at the short-term resistance right here. The blue line, by the way, in our Bollinger Band is our MA20. Okay, so when we say MA20, it's the moving average in the past 20 days. When you say MA50, that's MA or moving average in the past 50 days. And normally these lines are strong indicators. It could either act as a resistance or could act as a support. And since we're moving below that level, below the MA20 line, chances are this could act as a resistance. But even if I say here that right now we're sitting at a resistance, chances are if there's really strong sentiment, strong buying power that will um, outnumber the seller, chances are it will cross that MA20 line. So we need to watch how the market performs tomorrow because we're very near your MA20 line. In fact, as you can see, the moment it touched 11.02, there was some kind of a rejection that happened and it ended at 10.78. So, so I'm not saying it will go down, but it is already very promising now that we have some foreign buying that transpired today. So let's do hope that it cross above the MA20 line and start moving up there. Otherwise, if most of the action happens below the MA20, or the most reliable confirmation is when tomorrow we end in a red candlestick, meaning your highest point would be, let's say, MA20 line, and then we end much lower than that, then that would simply mean the downtrend is not over yet. Okay, so check how tomorrow is a decision making day. Check how the candlestick ends tomorrow. Is it above MA20 or below MA20? Okay, so see the big difference. Right. Now let's go and check PNB. PNB, overall, at a glance, I can say the downtrend is not over yet. So we were almost there. We even managed to end at the above the MA20 line at the I would assume at the beginning of the day today. Most of the action happened here, but people were taking profit probably because some of them may have already entered in this area, and for how many days consecutive we were very bullish, and so they were taking profit. Now I would say that chances are it will revisit our previous support. And if I may plot this, okay, so we will still be right in this area. Okay, right, so it's an area, could be a little higher or a little lower, but that's the area that I feel will be your support, nearest support. So now we will have to check how the um, chart reacts, or how the market performs in the coming days. Will it sustain in this level and stabilize in the area? If that gets broken, then that's a bad news for us. I would have to say downtrend might even persist somewhere. Okay, so that is what we are going to monitor right now, 34.50 level. So the next one is MBT. MBT is, I would have to say this is a bounce. In fact, I wonder where I plotted this before. I think this was the area that I said would be the nearest support, but I would have to say, given the kind of candlestick that we have right now, this is engulfing. Today's candlestick ended much higher than the previous day, so that's what we call engulfing candlestick. Okay, so it's bullish engulfing candlestick. That means there's a big chance that we might potentially move some more on the upside. Okay, so treat MBT for long term, ideally, because this is one of the more stable companies in the Philippine market. So if you want, you can start accumulating volume, given the how the candlestick ended. Not too much yet, because your volume, the bars at the bottom here is your volume. See the big difference in the volume. This versus this. Okay, there's not much volume at the moment. So while it's true that it is engulfing, we can have some more movements above, but we could also experience some retracements, right? So this is the next resistance that I see. So your call. Remind yourself what's your outlook. Why did you enter in that stock? The next one is Meg. Okay, the chart of Meg looks promising. Volume wise is fine. Look at the green line. Green line. There's volume in today's market. At the same time, we've started to trigger the upper Bollinger Band. But you see, our market is so slim in terms of volume. That's why just a tiny increase in the price, traders take profit right away. They want to lock in their profit. That's why you see this wick, this thin line over here. At one point, it even reached 4.29 level, but then people took profit. That's why it ended much lower. So observe how we are going to move by tomorrow. Let's see if most of the action still happens on the upside. But if, you know, we continue to move below the MA20 line, so chances are it might continue to go down. This could just be an overshoot, right? Slightly overshoot above the MA20 line. So tomorrow could be another significant day that might influence the next possible movement of Meg. Okay. The next one is there. All right. Jasper also has a request. MBT, I just mentioned it. I hope you were able to hear that, Jasper, but this time I'll go ahead and talk about DNL and DMC. DNL, Looks promising. We have a doji today. That's DOJI. Doji is a candlestick that looks like a cross and just a tiny thin line there. That would mean the price started at that level, fluctuated up and down the entire day, and then it ended at the same spot. That is also a very strong candlestick. When it appears right at the support area, chances are it would mean a possible change in direction. So for the past how many days, we were on a bearish sentiment, meaning it's going down. But in today's movement, when it touched your MA20 line, there was a bounce that happened. That means people feel that this is already an okay price to get in. So that means we ended right above there. So you can give it a try. If the market gives you a chance near MA20 line, you can probably start doing test buy. Okay, see if we will continue to move upward. Even though if you zoom in like that, you would see, oh, it's high. But overall, if you are to look at it in a long-term perspective, see the potential of your gains there. The overall sentiment of the entire 2000, even 2018, is on a decline. This could be already a trigger that we might have some more bullish movements this 2020 for this stock. Okay, so before I even talk about long term, let's first see the nearest possible resistance, okay? Because we don't do magic. If you want to engage in the stock market, you have to be very, very patient because price moves up and down, and your desired amount for your profit taking area could happen in longer than you are expecting it. Okay, so yes, the nearest possible resistance is right at the 9.32 level. The reason why I said that is because of this previous resistance, and for 2 days right over here, price landed almost at the same area. Okay, so that's my only basis for now. And the next possible resistance that you need to watch out for would be this level because of the consolidation that happened right in this area. So at least I'm not saying definite that it is this area because it could either be this area or this area. At least you have key areas to watch out for. DMC. I need a pen. Okay, hold on. Yeah, that's fine. PNL, DMC. Okay, the next one is DMC. Just guys, just continue to put down your or comment your request, all right? So I can go through it one by one. Normally, I don't end my show. I don't end this session without finishing everyone's request. So that's how I commit to you guys. All right, so moving on to the next stock, we have DMC. Okay, DMC is currently, well, looking at where it is at right now, I feel that that's actually sitting at a resistance area. Uh, Reason being is this area, okay, and at one point it also reached here, and then in today's market it reached here, and there was some rejection when it even exited upward. Uh, People feel that's a little bit pricey, and so I feel that tomorrow we might experience some people taking profit, and conservatively it might reach up to this level, in fact. And let's see if we see some bounce happening in that area, or even um, if that does not happen there, so chances are it could also be at the MA20 line, right? If you want to see all probabilities, okay, to identify which areas could it potentially bounce. Let's do a Fibonacci retracement. This indicator allows you to measure which areas a price or a stock could potentially bounce in the coming days. So if you plot it at the lowest point, so you first put it at the lowest point where you have your wick over here. So if you would like to include the wick at the lowest point, you also have to include the wick at the highest point. So what we're using right now is just this period, short term. Okay, so I plot it here, bring it upward over here, and the next possible line is okay. So let's trust your your Fibonacci. Let's erase this so we are more accurate. Okay, look at that section over here. In case it bounces, this is the first area to consider, 6.57. If that gets broken, chances are it would potentially bounce around the 6.26 area. Okay, the lowest you can get would be 6.01. Okay, so just plot in that area, and then if you have the time, monitor it. Okay, so those are our insights. All right, for Irene, Ali, AC Tech, and MPI. Let me write that down. Tech and MPI. Ali. Okay, good evening, Palaboy Trader. Jesse, Jasper, Carrillo, CPM, ISM, MWC po, Miss JD. Of course, let's discuss that as well. Ali. Ali. Trying to stabilize and create a support in the area where it is at right now. So that's a support that I see. So you see a price slightly lower or higher. That's just fine. It's an area, and it's right now we see it at a 44.16 level as our first area of support. But if you ask me, is it time to get in? I'd say not yet. Okay. Reason being, we did not engulf this red candlestick yet. We did not end much higher than the body of this candlestick. At the same time, second hint, your Bollinger Band still pointing downwards. So I feel that we might even move sideways. Okay, sideways, slight overshoot downwards here, and then before we move to the upside. Okay, so let's first wait for that engulfing candlestick. Hopefully we just move within this range and then change the direction right after. AC. AC, interesting. We now have crossed the MA20 line. So the nearest support that I want all of us to take note of, I mean resistance that we need to take note of would be the 810.13 level. So we might see some more push to the upside, but I would have to say, people take profit, and then we might see some rejection happening around the yellow line that I plotted, and then we'll go from there. Let's see how the candlestick ends tomorrow. Let's see if it continues to break that, because if it does, then chances are, yay, we have a brand new wave moving to the upside. If we end in a red candlestick and confirming that candlestick may be confirming the yellow line as a resistance, and then we end in a bearish candlestick, then that's not a good story, because we might see some more bearish actions in the coming days. The next is tech. Guys, let me know if my audio is okay. Okay, so because I'm not able to hear myself. Okay. Oh, nice. Guys, put this in your watch list. Promising move. Do you see volume right here slowly increasing. So that is promising. At the same time, we have been on a decline for tech for so long, and now we have started to trigger the upper Bollinger Band. So I would have to say in the coming days, if there are no jinx, if there are no negative news around tech, we might see some more movements to the upside. Okay. The nearer you are to the MA20 line, just in case the market gives you a chance near the MA20, even better. But I would have to say with um, the current price, uh, 4.51 to 4.90, I would say that's already a good entry price. The downside, though, is that what if the market does not give you a chance? Is this already a FOMO level? What do you think? It all depends on your perspective to begin with. If you're a long-term investor, I would have to say um, anywhere by tomorrow, any price by tomorrow would be a good entry price because you talk about long-term. But for position traders, it could mean a different thing. A position trader could, haggle some more and wait for a perfect sweet spot before he would enter. But if you're a momentum trader, you would most likely use a much faster time frame and using the same concept. Whenever there's a fluctuation, price drops, a trader would enter, and then when there's an increase in price, 2-3%, sometimes they would already take profit. Okay. The next is, but overall, guys, I'd like you to mark and watch tech. The next one would be MPI. MPI, we have started to cross the MA20 line. And yeah, I think overall, we might see some more bullish movements to the upside. And just in case the market, rests, the nearest area, I'd still go for MA20 as a possible area of bounce. Now, if you again, I'd like you might say that I'm a broken record, but I'd still would like to remind everyone um, that if you enter in a trade and you're trading it as a trader, practice cut loss or stop loss in your trades. But let us say, because my recommendation here is that the nearest possible area where you can enter and start accumulating volume would be your MA20 line. Okay, so if you want, this is what you can do. Um, let us see. Let's first check out how your weekly chart looks like. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do an ascending triangle. Let's try to plot it this way. Okay, let's use that as our indicator. This being your resistance and this being your green line being your support, yellow being your resistance. So I have a feeling that within the next days or in the coming days, your stock price might go, within the triangle that we have plotted. Now, if the price starts to move up, surpassing 3.72, chances are it will continue to move up and create a brand new wave. Now, if the price breaks your green line and starts to move downwards, then of course we can say that downtrend is not over. This is just a temporary bounce, and then the real story is downtrend is still going to persist. So just draw that ascending triangle that we have there. Okay. The next one is, all right, This one is for Jesse. CPM. Oops. CPM. Okay, FOMO level, guys. So massive um, increase in price. So I'd have to say, if you still would like to engage in this stock, just be extra careful because it's not normal to have massive or significant jump in the price for this stock. Um, Second, do you see this? Price was moving up here, but your RSI is actually giving us some bearish, okay, bearish signals. So sometimes, you know, the price can slightly increase some more even if you see a declining RSI. The reason being RSI is giving you more advance. It's giving you more advanced signal. So this come out first before the actual happening. Okay. So sometimes when it goes down, for instance here, actually in this level, when the price hits downward over here, okay, your stock price actually already gave you that signal, right? Downward, upward. And then we would normally say, yeah, you're nearing a possible bounce. But look what happened. It persisted for a few more days before the actual jump really happened. So an RSI has a tendency to do that. So if you use RSI alone as your main influencer of your decision, I don't recommend. Always pair your RSI with another indicator, probably your Bollinger Band, your candlestick pattern. So you marry these and then make your assumptions. Okay? In the same manner, do not just use a Bollinger Band alone. Use uh, volume, use candlestick patterns, and there are a lot more that you can take advantage of. But also just some reminders, don't use too much. Sometimes if you have so many indicators that you include in your chart, sometimes it blinds you, it clouds your decision, and these indicators could make conflicting messages. So just stick to a few, master it, use it multiple times, and then soon you'll realize the beauty of these indicators. Okay. Um, so that is CPM. So be extra careful. If you still would like to trade this, just use a much faster time frame. If you're just new, I suggest find another stock. It's too risky. Okay, too risky. It's already up there, and there are a lot of good positions right now. In fact, you can even consider tech, right? Uh, Find your entry in tech, but first check out the fundamentals of tech. If you're in agreement, if you're one with their mission and their vision, go ahead and engage in that. And also, if you're interested in CPM, who am I to stop you, right? Say if you feel that there's really a promising um, catalyst or plans, projects in the future, just find your entry. But looking at the price right now, I still would like to stick to my reminder to be extra careful. This is FOMO level. ISM. Okay, ISM is currently resting, but so far so good. It is respecting your MA20 level. I've seen and noticed, for 3 days, each time it touches that area, so you see bounce happening. But as always, no volume, not much of a volume yet. But you have foreign buying already happening in this stock. So hopefully we just continue to move sideways and then transition to a change in direction really, really soon. Okay. What about, okay, Jesse, I hope you were able to hear MWC. That is, in fact, the first stock I reviewed. So just feel free to play this video again once we're done. Okay. Renato, good evening, Miss JD. Good evening, too. Renato, if you have a request, feel free to drop a comment, okay? All right. Thanks, Jesse, for confirming. I hope the quality is also good. I bought this microphone in Lazada, so I hope quality is also acceptable. Tungsten TBGI for Trinidad Alexander. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss that. Okay, cool. What do you think? I think that we're nearing a very near resistance. Okay, so that's the nearest resistance that I see. Trinidad. So if you have already entered at let's say in this area, I recommend that if you see signs of weakness, okay, take note of the condition there. If you see signs of weakness, consider taking profit. Could be a partial profit, or it could be the entire thing. Okay. The reason why I said that is because when you see, let's say, a rejection happening in this area, this being a resistance, that would simply mean that your next possible move is that the stock might rest. Okay. However, despite the price reaching a resistance, you still end in a green. I would have to say we might have some more bullish movements in the coming days. Okay, so what could a possible bearish candlesticks? Okay, when I say a sign of weakness, that means you could potentially have a red candlestick ending very near your resistance area. A bearish candlestick would look something like this. Okay, this type of candlestick is a bearish candlestick. This one too, right? So it's like a shooting star. So that's what they call a shooting star. A shooting star uh, comes out at a resistance area. Okay, this one where you have like 30 or 25% of the entire candlestick comprising the body. Right? I think that's 25%. Right? It can also be this thick. Okay. Another one is also like this, or a doji. A doji coming out at the resistance area, something like this. Okay, so that's a doji. It's like a cross. Sometimes it looks like that, or sometimes uh, it looks like this. Okay, see this one? This is a doji, but the difference is that it came out at a support area. So each time you see that happening either at the resistance or at the support area, chances are the next possible move is already a potential change in direction. Notice what happened here. When this came out, the next move downwards. This came out, the next move upward. Okay, so those are our triggers. So watch out for the candlestick pattern when it reaches that area. Okay, so don't forget to join us again in our next live session so that you can request this and we can review it again. All right, TBGI. Still moving in sideways for TBGI. Although, while the price is moving just sideways, your RSI is already starting to gain momentum. Look at that. So just hang in there. If you have entered somewhere, higher and you're on a negative, I would have to say um, it won't be long before we experience some bounce. But I am not promising that whatever price you entered at will be hit right away and you'll be break even at least, right? But definitely, I would have to say we might experience some bounce. So just continue to monitor. In fact, if you want to get in, I would have to say probably wait for another engulfing candlestick. Um, and the moment this stock becomes, more constricted, let's say instead of this yellow line pointing downwards, you have it pointing upwards, and then this one pointing upwards as well, and then let's say it becomes more constricted, chances are the next possible move is it will cross your MA20 and eventually cross your upper Bollinger Band. Okay, so just hang in there. Mark 0.2650 as your uh, nearest support area. All right. MRC Kasabong. Okay. This one is for Kasabong, MRC, and JFC. Oops, I forgot to write down CPM, ISM. Oh, MNB 777. Sorry about that. I forgot pizza for you. Pizza? Pizza currently stabilizing, but we're very near your MA20 line. Okay, you're very near the MA20 line. At the same time, your RSI is also starting to, move in an upward direction, and you're very near your MA20. Chances are, if you just have one green candlestick, it will right away potentially cross your MA20 to the upside. So I would have to say hang in there. We're very near a possible bounce for pizza. And look at how your chart looks like if you are to zoom out further. Very, very promising potential. Okay, so I suggest watch this stock and see for confirmation. For risk takers, some of them might enter this as early as now and they're just ready to face a possible cut loss. But for conservatives, we would rather wait for a green candlestick to engulf the red candlestick now, and then that's the time we enter. See the difference? Possible area of support here as well. Okay, so that's our basis. MRC. Okay, MRC is, while we managed to bounce and cross above the MA20 line and even started to trigger their upper Bollinger Band, because the very little or small volume happening, or volume that we have right now, um, that's why we were not able to sustain the upward movement, and in fact we ended red today, so that's a sign of weakness. But do you think it will go way lower? I would have to say it might dip further, but the nearest area to monitor would be still MA20. Probably slightly lower than that because of this. Okay, so like 0.010 lower than the MA20 line. Okay. Um, One thing though that I have noticed here is that you had very noticeable volume here, very huge volume that happened yesterday. And while it's true that we ended red today, look at the people, the number of trades that we have here. Still, see the big difference. I can therefore say that still a lot of the people who got in MRC are still holding onto their stock. Only a few people took profit. Probably this is just a partial profit because they already must have entered here, and that they're just accumulating buying power, that in case this dips one more time, they have a buying power to use to add more volume. Because overall, where are you at? Look at that. Massive decline since October, I think. Yeah, last year. 1 year, almost 1 year of downward movement. And for the past month, actually this December, we're just moving sideways. I skipped and I just got intrigued with MNB777 uh, comment. Thanks. Sagot ko na pizza ng lahat sa Feb kapag umangat yan. Yeah, you can never tell. And for as long as there's no negative, okay? No negative news for this stock, I would have to say it's just, market sentiment that pulled it down, and uh, maybe it's about time, right? It's about time that it moves up. Okay, so the next one would be, hmm, where are we? MRC. Did we talk about JFC? Not yet. I'm also in JFC, by the way. Oh, yay! See that? We rested at the MA20 line, and very quickly we managed to recover right away. We have a bounce for JFC, so promising. If you're a follower of the Elliott wave, normally an Elliott wave would have 3 to 5 um, bounces or a wave before it declines. So this is what I am projecting. Say let's use this. I'm just randomly putting an area. Okay, so one, it bounced here, so it could most likely end much higher. Okay, because this used to be your resistance, that could be your point number 3, and then probably end here at the point number 4, and then and much higher again, filling that gap over here. So you might even reach this level before it goes down. Okay, so that is an Elliott wave. So those are just projected areas of possible change in direction or bounce and retracement. So 246 could be, hopefully in, I don't know how long will this take, but probably in Q1. Okay, just to be conservative. November, December. From this point, yeah, probably before Q2 ends, we could already reach this level 246. But take note, a price needs to, or a stock needs to rest at one point. It's scary if a price continues to go up non-stop and without resting, because when it rests all the way down. See that? So that's our projected or projection for JFC. Overall, JFC is very stable, and you have nothing to worry with that company. Okay, Mitch. So I talked about MBT, MPI, and tech. So just in case you were not able to catch that earlier, let me see. MBT. So I've plotted 2 possible areas of bounce. Support being 63.57 and 66.25 as your nearest resistance. MPI. Okay, so I mentioned earlier to draw this um, ascending triangle, this being your resistance and this being your support, that chances are in the coming days, it could end tomorrow, but let's say in the next few days we still move within the triangle, then we still monitor that. But if in case we start moving outside of that yellow triangle to the upside, then chances are we will have a brand new wave. But if it breaks your green line, then that simply means the downtrend is not over yet. And tech, so far, this is one of the best formation that I see. Okay, one of the best uh, signals. I have a similar pattern in the US market. Look at this, OSTK, Overstock, overstock.com. See that? This is currently very constricted, so chances are it will continue to move upward. Very promising. Look at the same pattern over here. Price got restricted over here, then all of a sudden it burst to the upside. Constricted over here, but most of the action happened downwards, then it went all the way down. Okay, so this is a promising move for Overstock, and they almost look the same. Okay. All right, see that? Paired with the right volume. Okay, let me see Overstock if the volume is also okay. Spike in volume. All right, see that? January 6. But today is already January 7, correct? Yeah. Actually, if you're going to go to tradingview.com, allow me to do that now. Tradingview.com. I know we are much higher than yesterday's movement for Overstock. Investograms did not project the current price for Overstock. So the point that I'm trying to drive here is that when you see a constricted Bollinger Band, okay, so notice here, by the way, the market is still open at the moment. So it's red, but I feel that some traders are just taking profit, but we're still outside the Bollinger Band. And notice we're still outside, and we're still very early in the game. Let me see the volume. More volume. Do we still have a good volume over here? Okay, it's red, so I mean it's much lower. That means people are still holding onto their positions right now. You see that? Big volume over here, but not much of a volume even if it's red. So I would have to say the night is still young, or the day is still young for our US market. Okay, is that it? We still have a lot of people in the session. Do you guys have any requests, or do you have the same stocks? Are you engaged in the same stock? Anyway, so if you don't have a request, allow me to go to our highly traded stocks and discuss the other stocks that we have not covered today. I think I still have 10 minutes more. Okay. All stocks. No wonder we have a lot of bounce for our index because PSEI just had a bounce today over here. Load chart. My chart. Okay. Right. Defaulted to BPI, but okay, now that we're here in BPI, this used to be a support over here. Okay. So I'm still hesitant to recommend because we're currently sitting at the support, and all we have to do by tomorrow is really monitor how the market performs. If most of the action happens below the 86.62, where we plotted this line, just stay away for a while, just for a while, because um, I have a feeling that we will be able to haggle at a much cheaper price before we can enter, right? So I'm not saying that totally avoid it. I'm not saying that, because BPI as a whole is a very established company, and I'm confident that this is just a market sentiment. Okay, Randy Ignacio. Okay, Jesse said X. Okay, sure, I will check that out. Okay, X. Now, let's ask ourselves, why is it that when we managed to cross MA20 before the market closed, people felt that it's too expensive and it went down? Okay, so I would have to say be extra careful, because it might revisit your previous support. Okay, 'cause that would simply mean that no one is willing to buy at a much higher price. Okay, so for those people who are not yet in, just hang in there. You might be able to haggle and get it at a much cheaper price, around 0.75. If you have entered in this area, this is already a very, this is a significant drop in the price. And if you have not exited, uh, that's part of the journey. Just hang in there. Probably stay there for a while. If you don't want to get in and check your red port, just stay away for a while. Okay, so the key takeaway there is, if you are trading with the objective of trading, make sure that before you even execute the order, plan out your exit strategy in case the direction heads against your analysis. Swallow your pride and exit the trade. Okay, so if it's already a significant drop, I don't recommend exiting anymore. Just wait for it to change the direction, or if you have extra fund, go ahead and add some more volume at an area where you have a possible change in direction or bounce, right? Okay, so the next possible support that we have here is 0.75. So yeah, Randy, we're done with MWC. Actually, if you have the opportunity, you can uh, play back this video, because that's actually the first stock I reviewed. Nickel FNI. Nickel. Nickel is currently sitting at the support level, so I'd say maybe you can check how we're going to move tomorrow. If most of the action happens still above MA20, I would say start accumulating. You're already at a reasonable price. If it breaks, chances are, okay, if it breaks, chances are it will fill the gap, 2.73, because I have seen so many stocks proving this theory is there's a truth to this concept, that when a gap up happens, it will fill the gap. But in this situation, it filled the gap halfway, so that means we're not totally done filling it. So that could be a possible reason in case this support that we've plotted gets broken. Second support, therefore, is 2.73. FNI. FNI sitting very near a support. In fact, I already consider this as a support level, because it's an area anyway. You had support over here, consolidation, and of course support over there, previous resistance over here, could be here. This is another contribution. Wow, very solid support as well over here. So I'd have to say, yep, around 1.65 to where it is at right now is still considered as a support area. So if you want tomorrow, if you're interested in entering the stock, if most of the action happens still within this range, then you can already start doing test buys. ABS, and this one is for MN B777. Wow, ooh, significant increase in price, but guess what? You're very near the resistance. Look to your left, and slightly above that is your nearest resistance. So what is the next possible move? People who have entered in this area around this level, those who already have accumulated volume, will most likely take profit. Okay, so just be extra careful. If you want, wait for that perfect timing, because I know this stock will rest most likely. Okay. If it breaks, hopefully it breaks though, right? If it breaks your 19.35 level, then that's another story. We might have a brand new wave. So you will see something like this. Okay, so that is always how uh, we project that. Okay, you're welcome, Jeffrey. I hope I was able to uh, uh, clarify and somehow I was able to. I hope I was able to give some pointers uh, for your stocks. Okay. All right. Any other requests, everyone, or questions, or other recommendations that you'd like us to include in our next sessions? But in the meantime, I'd like to really take advantage of this opportunity. There are a lot of you guys currently joining me in today's session. Please do subscribe to Miss JD, and if you have the chance, please share it to your trading groups, trading walls, so we can increase and grow this network and be instruments of change. Okay, so at the in the beginning, we all felt that stock market was very intimidating, very complex to engage in. But guess what? We're all here now. You're joining me because I believe at one point you also felt the same, and we're in the process of familiarizing the entire concept, and that's what I started doing. I think we're very near. I think we're almost. I started July doing live sessions, so it's almost half a year, right? 7 or 8 months. Okay, so we're already 8 months in our journey doing this. So somehow I feel a little more confident. The way I talk, the way I look at the charts, and the way I do my trades, we're a little bit more confident this time around than before. So I hope you can do the same. Join me every single day so that we improve our skill set and we apply all the things we learn in our trades as well. Okay. In the meantime, thank you guys. Good night, and you take care. Let's chat again tomorrow. Okay. Goodbye for now.